4 years after a little girl was beaten to death in her crib, her murder remains unsolved, even though 3 people apparently were in the home when she died. Lisa Guerrero and the I Squad tracked down all 3 suspects to try to find out if one of them got away with murder.
Why is this mother sobbing?
I'm done. That's it.
Why doesn't this guy want to talk to us? And why is this man at a loss for words? Because one of these 3 people might have gotten away with killing this adorable 2-year-old girl. Juliette Geurts was beaten to death in this 2-bedroom home. Her twin sister Jalen was in the crib next to her when she died. The shocking crime rocked the small town of Gearing, Nebraska.
It's been 4 years of hell for our family.
Juliette's aunt, Monica Hall, is furious that the murder remains unsolved, especially since all 3 suspects, Juliette's mother, Charisse, her boyfriend, Dustin Chauncey, and their friend, Brandon Townsend, were all home the night Juliette was killed.
Juliette didn't beat herself to death. Somebody murdered her.
But no arrests have been made. This is the home where the brutal murder occurred. It's so small, Monica refuses to believe none of them heard or saw the violent beating.
So do you believe the adults in the house that night must have known what happened to her?
They definitely know what happened. There is no doubt in my mind.
How raw are local feelings about this unsolved murder? Just listen to this call Monica recorded with the district attorney, Doug Warner.
I'm going to try to make this case work.
I hope you heard Juliette say you will find justice for her.
No, don't give me this for Juliette. How many dead babies I work on?
It just made my heart sink.
We came to speak with the district attorney along with all these concerned citizens, but he left work early.
Is Mr. Warner here?
I have to leave.
Is Mr. Warner here?
You're going to have to leave. He's not here.
Another glaring problem with the case is that the police didn't bother to lock down this home as a crime scene until 5 days after Juliette was beaten to death. We caught up with Gearing Police Chief Mel Griggs.
Can you explain to us why that crime scene, why that house wasn't secured for 5 days?
I'm just not prepared to answer that right now.
Why has it taken so long to find the person responsible for her murder? There were only 3 adults there in that house that night.
That's true, and we have evidence that they were there, but none of them are talking.
Juliette was killed in 2008. Since then, all 3 suspects have left Nebraska, and the police haven't spoken to them in more than 3 years. So we decided to track them down. We found Brandon Townsend now living outside Denver, Colorado. He says he was passed out drunk on a couch the night Juliette died.
Did you kill Juliette Geurts?
No, I did not. I love that little girl with all my heart.
What do you think happened?
I think Dustin went in there in the middle of the night and beat her too hard.
Brandon believes Dustin Chauncey, Charisse's boyfriend, was drunk and beat Juliette because she wouldn't stop crying, something he says Dustin had done before.
He had a real short temper, and the girls were really scared of him.
Get the camera out of my face.
We tracked down the dead child's mother, Charisse, to her new home near Green Bay, Wisconsin. She has never given an interview before and wasn't happy when we caught up with her.
Charisse, did you kill baby Juliette?
No.
Charisse, who still has partial custody of the dead child's twin sister, claims she took a sleeping pill that night and doesn't remember anything.
Do you feel responsible in some ways?
What mother wouldn't feel responsible? I don't want to talk anymore.
But after she broke down sobbing, she also pointed the finger at her now ex-boyfriend, Dustin Chauncey.
You believe that Dustin did it?
Yeah, I believe that he did it.
So who is Dustin Chauncey? We found he's been arrested 12 different times for everything from theft and drugs to violent assaults. When I finally tracked him down to this suburban house near Denver, Dustin and his current girlfriend tried to dodge us. They took off into this busy intersection, and a police car nearby pulled them over. Did you hurt Juliette Geurts?
No, I didn't, and you guys can speak to my lawyers. I'm done. No comment.
Dustin, what do you want to say to Juliette Geurts' family?
I will speak to them on my own time. I'm done. That's it.
When was the last time you spoke to the police?
Thank you.
Did you kill Juliette Geurts?
We ask you, Jesus, that there might be justice for Juliette.
On the 4th anniversary of her death, Juliette's Aunt Monica organized this touching candlelight vigil. But many wonder if there'll ever be justice for this sweet little girl.
1,700 signatures have been collected to force a grand jury to review the case.
Is there finally justice for little Juliette? The 2-year-old was beaten to death inside her home, but incredibly, after 4 years, none of the adults present in the house had been charged in her death. That is, until the Inside Edition I-Squad investigated and a citizens' army forced authorities to re-examine the case. As Lisa Guerrero reports, 2 people have now been indicted.
It's a citizens' army, and they are on a crusade.
We are hoping to get justice for this little girl.
The little girl they're fighting for is 2-year-old Juliette Geurts, who was found beaten to death in this modest home 4 years ago. The shocking crime rocked the small town of Gering, Nebraska.
It's been 4 years of hell for our family.
Juliette's aunt, Monica Hall, is furious that the death remains unsolved, especially since 2 of the suspects, Juliette's mother, Charisse, and her boyfriend, Dustin Chauncey, were both home the night Juliette was killed.
It's a nightmare you can't wake up from.
Monica accuses the local police of having botched the investigation.
It's just horrible.
So a citizens' army has risen, regular people who have taken extraordinary action seeking justice for the little girl.
It breaks my heart that nothing's been done.
We were with them as they marched into the courthouse. One by one, they passed through metal detectors and went up the stairs to the clerk of the court. There, they presented a petition with enough signatures demanding a re-examination of the case. Emotions ran high.
Justice for Juliette!
Now a grand jury has returned with indictments, charging Charisse Geurts and Dustin Chauncey in connection with Juliette's death. Chauncey is charged with child abuse resulting in death and providing false information. Juliette's mom is charged with being an accessory to a felony and providing false information to impede an investigation. The landlord of the house where the killing took place permitted us entry. The place is so small, it's hard to believe no one saw or heard the violent beating.
So do you believe the adults in the house that night must have known what happened to her?
They definitely know what happened. There is no doubt in my mind.
Get the camera out of my face.
Charisse now lives near Green Bay, Wisconsin. She wasn't happy when we tracked her down last summer.
Charisse, did you kill baby Juliette?
No.
Charisse claims she took a sleeping pill that night and doesn't remember anything.
Do you feel responsible in some way?
What mother wouldn't feel responsible? I don't want to talk anymore.
But after she broke down sobbing, she pointed the finger at her now ex-boyfriend, Dustin Chauncey.
You believe that Dustin did it?
Yeah, I believe that he did it.
So who is Dustin Chauncey? We found he's been arrested 12 different times for everything from theft and drugs to violent assaults. I caught up with him near Denver.
And did you beat Juliette Geurts to death?
No, I didn't, and you guys can speak to my lawyers. I'm done. No comment.
When was the last time you spoke to the police?
Thank you.
Did you kill Juliette Geurts?
We ask you, Jesus, that there might be justice for Juliette.
A touching candlelight vigil was held on the 4th anniversary of Juliette's death. Once again, there were prayers for justice. Now, thanks to the work of these good people, perhaps those prayers have been finally answered.
If convicted, Juliette's mother, Charisse, could face up to 6 years in prison, and Dustin Chauncey could be sentenced to life. We'll be right back.
Now the case of baby Juliette, the little girl who was killed nearly 7 years ago. No one was ever held accountable, but finally an arrest was made in the case, but the mom wouldn't testify. Lisa Guerrero with our report.
As a mother, why wouldn't you testify against the man that you told me you thought killed your daughter?
I'm going to ask you to please leave me alone.
This mom doesn't want to talk to me. Her name is Juliette Geurts. She's the mother of a little girl who was beaten to death 6.5 years ago. There were 3 adults in this house in Gering, Nebraska in 2008 when 2-year-old Juliette Geurts was killed. They were Juliette's boyfriend Dustin Chauncey, and their roommate Brandon Townsend, the little girl's aunt Monica Hall.
Do you believe the adults in the house that night must have known what happened to her?
They definitely know what happened.
I found the roommate, Brandon Townsend, in Colorado. He said he was passed out drunk on the couch the night Juliette died.
Did you kill Juliette Geurts?
No, I did not. I love that little girl with all my heart.
What do you think happened?
I think Dustin went in there in the middle of the night and beat her too hard.
Get the camera out of my face.
Juliette's mom, Juliette Geurts, says she took a sleeping pill that night and doesn't remember anything.
Juliette, did you kill baby Juliette?
No.
Do you feel responsible in some way?
What mother wouldn't feel responsible?
She also pointed the finger at her ex-boyfriend.
You believe that Dustin did it?
Yeah, I believe that he did it.
I found Dustin Chauncey outside Denver, and he didn't want to talk to me.
Did you hurt Juliette Geurts?
No, I didn't, and you guys can speak to my lawyers. I'm done. No comment.
Did you kill Juliette Geurts?
And then he took off. But justice has caught up with him at last.
It took the jury just over an hour to find Dustin Chauncey guilty of intentional child abuse resulting in death. Baby Juliette's family sat directly behind me, and when the judge read the verdict, first they gasped, and then they began crying openly in court.
Juliette's relatives expressed relief at the guilty verdict.
I've waited 7 years for this. Finally got justice for my granddaughter.
The verdict came without the testimony of perhaps the most important witness, the mother, Juliette. The judge threw her in jail for contempt after she refused to take the stand. She was released after 3 days.
Juliette, what's your reaction to Dustin's guilty verdict? As a mother, why wouldn't you testify against the man that you told me you thought killed your daughter?
I'm going to ask you to please leave me alone.
For years, the community and family members have held vigils seeking justice for Juliette. Now, justice has, at long last, been served.
And the family personally thanked Inside Edition, saying our coverage of the case was instrumental in finally getting justice for Juliette. Chauncey is scheduled to be sentenced next month. He could face 20 years to life in prison.